I'm gonna talk about something that the few of you that this video reaches are guaranteed to be split right down the middle on. I'm almost sure that about 50% of you will not know what the hell I'm talking about until after you look it up, but please refrain from doing that until after the video. And then the other 50% will be like, yes. So trending at the moment in the entertainment streaming world is a really popular IP that began in the gaming world. It usually needs no introduction, and if anyone is not a gamer, by now they've still heard of this title floating around online at some point in the recent year. As pertaining to the premise of this video and possibly the title, I say I loved it since before it was cool, but if I'm honest, it's always been cool. It's just now reaching a wider audience here in 2023, which in fact adds to its legacy, as this whole thing began back in 2013. And you heard that right, 10 years going and yet still amazing. I'm talking about The Last of Us. So what started out as a legendary video game is now making its way to TV and streaming. Here's a quick summary for those of you that I predicted wouldn't know what the hell I was talking about when I brought it up. The Last of Us, and I'll probably call it Tilu going forward. The story is set in a post-apocalyptic world where a mutant cordyceps fungus has ravaged the United States, turning human hosts into aggressive creatures known as the Infected. Joel is a smuggler who works in the quarantine zone in the north end of Boston. He and his partner, Tess, work to recover a stolen weapons cache and end up getting involved with the Fireflies, a rebel militia opposing the quarantine zone authorities. Joel and Tess are tasked with smuggling a teenage girl named Ellie.
I shot the hell out of that guy, huh?
Ellie, who is immune to the infection, to the Fireflies. Along the way, they encounter many challenges such as government patrols, hordes of infected, and bandits, and eventually reach the Fireflies, who intend to use Ellie to find a cure for the infection, but at the cost of Ellie's life. Joel must make a decision whether to let her die or to save her. So that's the basic rundown, but I assure you, as simple and maybe semi-emotionless as I made that sound, the experience is anything but. I haven't witnessed a single person, gamer, non-gamer, parent, teen, grandparent, reactor, reviewer, no one make it through the game, or maybe even just the full movie-worthy cutscenes of the game without being affected emotionally on some level. And it's because it's that amazing. The writing, the voice acting, the timing, the animation, the story itself, the game's very production, all of it was perfectly crafted and blended into this legendary masterpiece we know it to be today. And I know you might say, well, that's quite an opinion, but Tilu's history of awards and accolades speak for themselves. Tilu has been highly rated by many review sites and review platforms, including Metacritic and Game Rankings, and it's appeared on several year-end lists as the best game of the year. It's received wins at various award shows and outlets. The game's story, sound design, music, graphics, and artist design have also received awards on their own merit. The game received several other awards, such as Outstanding Innovation in Gaming at the DICE Awards, Best Third-Person Shooter from Game Trailers, Best New IP from Hardcore Gamer, Best Newcomer at the Golden Joystick Awards, and Best Action Adventure Game on PS3, and overall at IGN's Best of 2013 Awards at that time. The game was nominated for Best Remaster at the Game Awards from the very next year in 2014, and named among the best games of the 2010s by various media outlets.
Get up, get up, get up. You gotta tell me what to do. Come on, you gotta get up. Joel?
And if that's not enough, it also sold 1.3 million units the first 7 days of its release, becoming the biggest 2013 video game launch at that time. It sold over 3.4 million units the first 3 weeks it was out, and again at that time was deemed the biggest launch of an original game since 2011 and the fastest selling PS3 game of 2013. It was the best selling digital release on the PlayStation Store for the PS3, and ultimately just went on to become the 10th best selling game of 2013. And it topped charts in mad countries include the US, the United Kingdom, France, Ireland, Italy, the Netherlands, Sweden, Finland, Norway, Denmark, Spain, and Japan. The game is one of PS3's best-selling titles, and the remastered version is among the best-selling titles for PS4. And so by October 2019, the game has sold over 20 million units. And for the record, you can also get it for PS5. The main game itself is more than enough to keep people busy and earn that reputation that it has right now. But aside from all the goodness of the main game, there was also a multiplayer adaptation that came with the game and incredibly still has a huge cult following going on to this day. How do I know? Well, because I'm part of it, of course. Factions is what it's called, and if you don't know, well, you just don't know. But if you do know, then here recently was an announcement by Naughty Dog that a new Factions multiplayer game is actually coming. And for those of us in the Factions world, it's so yes. I say all of that not even mentioning that there is a part 2 of this story franchise, which in most of the same aspects of the first game is just as fantastic. In my opinion, it just had one flaw. That's another video though. So as I said earlier in the video, it's because of the live adaptation show that recently began airing on HBO Max that has Tlu trending here in 2023. The television adaptation stars Pedro Pascal as our beloved Joel and Bella Ramsey as the unforgettable Ellie. Now, since I live in Europe and HBO Max isn't available here just yet, I'd like to take a moment to introduce you to today's sponsor, Big VPN. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But I have yet to start watching the show, at least as of right now. But I will soon begin checking it out, and maybe I'll even review and talk about what I think over on my gaming channel while I wait for Factions to come out. Maybe, I don't know just yet. But I just have to say that it feels pretty awesome to have been part of something for this long, only for it to gain a renewed momentum 10 years after its release, and see so many people be blown away by it and know that I'm part of the OG following. Because this new show looks promising, but trust me, The Last of Us for quite some time now has been legend.